Hey folks, I'm Isaiah, and I have a tradition of covering 100 minus my age in miles every year. I turned 54 about 3 weeks ago, and so that means I've got to cover 46 miles today, and I'm going to do it here in South Carolina around Travelers Rest in Greenville on the Swamp Rabbit Trail. And the terminus, the northern terminus of this trail is right behind me, and it's 7 a.m. right now and the sun's still coming up, so I'll have to film more of it later with light so you can see. But just introducing the start of Swamp Rabbit Trail, which is pretty nondescript at this point, ends kind of around some old homes. This Ingalls is about a quarter mile from the northern terminus of the Swamp Rabbit Trail, and while it's not much of a scenic destination for your turnaround point, it at least makes for a convenient refuel stop. The Swamp Rabbit Trail is an old decommissioned rail line, and as a rail line, a lot of stuff along it, you can imagine, was industrial and business related. And now it's been all converted to a great bike path. But what I like is you can still see remnants of the old blue collar and industrial all along this line. Maybe one day it'll all be cafes and breweries, but I'm glad now that it still has its the ghost of the past lining its sometimes foundations and still living businesses along this old rail route. One of the really popular cafes right off the Swamp Rabbit Trail is Tandem Creperie. You can order your coffee or crepe here at the Hippie Wagon outside and eat it inside, and that's just what I did, and I'm going to take my first refueling stop here. Yum. Of all the places to benefit most from the development of the Swamp Rabbit Trail would have to be the otherwise sleepy town of Travelers Rest. It does have some bigger box stores and chain restaurants over on the main highway, but here along somewhat of a lesser highway where the old rail route goes, you have a lot more of local entrepreneur development, a few breweries and shops. It's a really cute town. It's where I started this morning at the house of my aunt and uncle-in-laws, but having been to the north, heading back, now I'm heading towards Greenville, which I estimate maybe between 10 and 11 miles this way, and that's where I'm headed. Beer or ice cream? This way to Greenville. Here in Travelers Rest, just off of the Swamp Rabbit Trail a bit, is Trailblazer Park, which is actually outside of the old high school. But great playground here, community garden, a pavilion, hosts a farmer's market, got a stage over here. So a nice little park. I'm trying to hit some of these city parks that are adjacent to the trail as I pass by them. I started here this morning all the way to the terminus, the Ingalls, and now I'm here and leaving Travelers Rest to go this way to Greenville with some stops on the way. The Swamp Rabbit Trail has the good fortune of going right adjacent to Furman University and its beautiful campus with a lake and its Venetian Tower here on the lake. So it's a great addition to my route. Well, I'm still in South Carolina, Furman to be specific still. Well, I have done a complete loop around Furman Lake, and now right back to the Swamp Rabbit Trail, which is right here. Getting closer to Greenville. And I just arrived to Unity Park on the outskirts of Greenville. And look who's here to encourage me and bring some aid. Yay. And underneath this underpass, they've made a nice children's garden. And this is how the Swamp Rabbit enters into downtown Greenville above the falls. And we're still in downtown. We'll be returning here later. This is Gather Greenville shipping container created a food hall, and I made it part of my stop, even though it's a little ways off the Swamp Rabbit. But since my family stopped at Unity Park and helped refuel me, I don't really feel like I need anything here, but I do want to check it out. Pretty cool place. The next several miles I'll be in downtown, but in this ravine where there's a number of sort of network of trails go through here. This is the cancer survivors garden. I always enjoy in a city when you can get off the paved stuff, there's just trails right down there, and have a little bit of dirt trails and nature rather than pavement. Nice playgrounds next to the zoo. I'm on a section of the Swamp Rabbit that appears to be the newest, but also least used. Just maybe because maybe there's not as much population here, but there's a cool ropes course up in this area, but it's still the Swamp Rabbit Trail. I'm not sure what this section is called, but it's sort of the furthest east it goes, I believe. So here in Holland Park is where we are. So this is the terminus, the current terminus at least. I'm sure they'll develop it further, of the Swamp Rabbit. So I've reached one end, and now is when I get off the trail and I'll be on the sort of more residential streets for a few miles to meet back up with the Swamp Rabbit on the more central terminus. But gonna get a refueling stop up here at Food Lion. When I mapped this route through residential areas, I'm not sure what I was gonna get, but obviously it is a little fancy side, so it's pretty scenic, even though I'm not on the official bike lane. I have rejoined a section of the Swamp Rabbit that I was on earlier, meaning I have completed a large loop on two branches of the Swamp Rabbit to the south and east of town. And so now I'm back on the Reedy River and heading back towards the heart of downtown, and then on to Traveler's Rest, about 32 miles in. So how many cities have something like this right in downtown? In fact, these falls are just here at the end of Main Street in the middle of Greenville. That's the Reedy River. Comes down here to the park. In downtown Greenville, very festive and busy for the holidays still. I've left the Swamp Rabbit Trail to hit up some of the more popular streets of downtown itself. I am now on Main Street in Greenville, and it is full of shops and restaurants and a lot of people here between Christmas and New Year's. This is more of Main Street. Back on the Swamp Rabbit. Unity Park, apart from being a park, has on the other side of the river here a lot of warehouse converted restaurants and well, I'm not sure, it's not all food, art probably too, but it's a pretty cool place that I'm just going to keep moving. Well, I am back on the north side of Greenville, and one thing I wanted to comment on is, for whatever reason, this north side rather than the branches of the Swamp Rabbit to the south and east, this has got tons more people. And to me, it's one of the great successes of the trail is just how much the public is actually using it. But it's especially notice it on this section between Greenville and Travelers Rest. One of the neat spots here on the Swamp Rabbit Trail is the Swamp Rabbit Cafe and Grocery, little playground, very bike friendly. I think this place probably wouldn't even exist without the trail here, but again, a good example of how the community gets creative around a great recreation resource. Yay, coming back on the Travelers Rest near the home stretch. And look who was at the Monkey Ranch to meet me close to the end. All right, with some refreshments. And to celebrate almost being done with my 46 miles on the Swamp Rabbit Trail, we stopped at none other than Swamp Rabbit Brewery here in Travelers Rest. Hooray! All right, so this is the end. A leisurely walk back after a Swamp Rabbit beer, but headed to the house of Tom and Diane. So did it. 46 miles completed. Yeah.